So first of all, you're gonna take your measurement around your bust. That's our measurement 1. And then you're going to add 5 centimeters to the measurement. Then you're gonna take the measurement from your hip bone or your waist, depending on how cropped you want it to be, and then to your armpit. So this measurement, which is our measurement 2, and then from the armpit to the shoulder, measurement 3. And that's the 3 measurements that we're gonna use. So for my case, this is 85 plus 5, 90. This one is 20 centimeters. And the third one is also 20 centimeters. So you're gonna make chainless foundation. So we start by chaining 3 and then go into the first chain. Grab the yarn, pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through 1. Oops. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Here we have 1 stitch and 2 stitches. And then once you've reached the length you want for the panel that you're making, you're going to make 2 chains, turn over, and then go into the first stitch here. So not this one, but this one, because our 2 chains counts as the first stitch. So into the next. So now when you have reached your measurement 2, which is from the waist or the hip and then to the armpit, you're gonna start by making decreases. Okay, so because we are going to make 2 front panels and they need to be mirrored, we need to make the V-neck here on the first front panel and then here on the other panel, so that they are mirrored and not identical. So that means that when I do my first row of decrease, I'm going to do the first decrease at the end of the row. And when you reach the end of the row and you have 2 stitches left, you're gonna do the first decrease. So you go into the first stitch and then into the next stitch, crochet the 2 together, and then chain 2. And then again, we do a decrease over the first 2 stitches, crochet them together. So we have the 2 chains and then the decrease. And this way we are going to only decrease on this side of the row, in the beginning and the end of this side only. And for our other panel, we started the decrease over here. So now you're gonna go back and forth like this and decrease on every row until you have your measurement 3, which is the armpit measurement. So these ones are gonna be connected on the shoulder and on the side below the sleeve. And the sleeve is connected here. So you're just gonna count how many stitches you have. 16 stitches here. So 1, 2, 16. So this is the stitch that we're gonna go in. So normally I just chain 1 here in the corner and then go into the first stitch and into here, and then you can make slip stitches or single crochet through both panels. And then chain 1, and then you can break off the yarn, and the same goes for the other one. So we are going to crochet the sleeve together, and the same thing here, 1 chain, and making sure that the wrong side is facing out. So I think I'm gonna make one stitch into the hole and then one stitch in between the rows, so into the little stitch thing here. So that one, and then into here, so that way it's about 2 stitches per row. You could also just make 2 stitches into the hole of the row, and again I'm just making slip stitches, but you can make single crochet or you can sew it together if you want. Okay, so now I have closed up the sleeve here and we're going to attach it. So I just chain 1 here after doing the sleeve, and then turning it like this on the side is a good idea. And then I'm going to start on the 12th, in my case, row, which is this one, and then go into the first stitch on the sleeve and into the first row here, the 12th row, and then again 2 stitches per row, and I'm doing slip stitches again, so through the first stitch here, then the next stitch here, and into the same row. So in my case that is the hole between each row I'm using as a stitch. So into the 3rd stitch here, into the hole of the row, and into the 4th stitch here, and into the stitch between the 2 holes, so this one. And I'll just continue that. So now I'm at the shoulder seam up here, and I've just gone into the hole of this row, and then I'm going to go into the seam for the next stitch because this is between 2 rows as well. So into the next stitch and into the seam, just into here where I slip stitched, and 1 slip stitch, and then continue down the row with into the hole and in between the 2 holes. And now when we reach this part, we can crochet down the side here, again 2 stitches per row. Now that we have attached the sleeve to the armhole, we are right here in the armpit, and now we're just gonna continue down the side, and again we do 2 stitches per row. So we go into the hole of the stitch and then into the space between the holes. And just make sure that the rows are lined up. Go all the way down and chain 1, break off the yarn. So what I do is just pinch the end of the yarn or use a needle, and then from the back go through the first hole and then go down the other one, so I'm just gonna find the 4th stitch, and you can use a hook or a needle for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you want the yarn to go through on each side of the stitch, and you tie a double knot, and you have to tie it quite tightly, and then from here you can just weave in the ends as you normally would. So once you have attached the buttons, you want a buttonhole on the other side, and I made these on the edge of the sweater. You could also make it further in. It depends on how tight you want it to be. But what I did here, I just wrapped some yarn around the stitch just by taking some yarn around that double crochet stitch and just take it through, just wrap it around a few times. And then on the back you take the yarn ends and tie a double knot, and then you can weave in the ends, and that way you have a more secure loop right here.